So I'm talking with the gentleman who is currently running fifth for president of the United States. Tell me your name.
My name is Zoltan Istvan. I'm the presidential candidate for the Transhumanist Party.
The Transhumanist Party. Tell us what that is.
So it's a funny name for a political party that represents science and technology. It's kind of a social movement like environmentalism was 20 years ago, except we're all about science and technology. Cranial implants, exoskeleton suits. When someone loses an arm in a war, we're the people that put on the robotic arm that ties into their neural system.
Wow. So you know what? I think our knee-jerk would be like, why do we need a party like that? But if you watched the RNC last week, you realize why we need a party like that.
Well, none of the major candidates are talking about science. We're about 10 years from having something like artificial wombs, where you could give a baby in basically an aquarium. We also have things like designer babies. We also have things like stem cell treatments that might enable us to live 150 years old. So what do you do with Social Security and things like that? So there's a huge amount of science questions that many of the major candidates really aren't addressing. What about artificial intelligence and nuclear weapons? We all know the Terminator story, but you would think, we're in about 10 years away from having artificial intelligence. You would think the candidates would be speaking about it.
Wow. What are the implications of artificial intelligence?
They're massive. I mean, first off, they're probably going to replace 90% of the jobs through them and robots. And it doesn't matter if you're a journalist, it doesn't matter if you're a doctor, it doesn't matter if you're a lawyer. So that's going to create this incredible social situation. Do we have a universal basic income to provide for everybody? Or do we just let the machines sort of take over and, people become that second-class citizen on planet Earth? So artificial intelligence represents the most important scientific advancement of the 21st century, but also perhaps the most scary, because do we really want an intelligence on planet Earth that's smarter than us?
I would say no, but I'm not that smart.
Most people are saying no. Most scientists are saying no as well, at least at this point. We want rudimentary artificial intelligence that can run our cars and run our daily lives and whatnot, but we don't want something that actually can one day decide that human beings aren't necessary. That's going too far for even somebody who loves science and technology.
And do you think we're actually close to that? Is that actually really a risk?
I absolutely do. I've seen some of the early, I live in the San Francisco Bay Area. I've been to the Stanford AI Clinic and stuff like that. We're very close. We're probably within 7 to 10 years of having a machine that is at least as smart as, let's say, an 18-year-old man or woman. Really?
All right, so that machine's going to be horny.
What's going to happen to sex in the future? Well, probably in the future we'll all have brain implants that will just stimulate our erogenous zone, so we won't even need partners. I mean, the Transhumanist Party tries to remain kind of a normal political party, but when you start stretching it out to the science fiction aspect, I don't know if also genders. I don't even know if genders will survive. I mean, will sex be something that's necessary if you're stimulated all the time by a chip that you control on your smartphone?
Now, is science going to save us from climate change?
Absolutely. The biggest thing coming down the pipeline next to AI is this nanotechnology concept. So we're working on amassing on almost the subatomic level the ability to create technology that can turn into things. So when you're talking about a rainforest being cut down, we might be able to reconstitute a rainforest come in 10 or 20 years. So that would solve the greenhouse issues. The other thing that happens with technology is, meatless meat. These are the kinds of things, instead of, having killing about 150 animals a day for our consumption, we'll have things like meatless meat that are grown in laboratories. So there's a lot of ways that technology and science can solve the problem. The real problem, though, is it's not going to necessarily solve the overpopulation problem. We might make the environment perfectly pristine again through nanotechnology and whatnot, but I'm pretty skeptical that we're going to cure the overpopulation issue anytime soon.
So I shouldn't really be that worried about climate change, because smart guys like you are going to fix it.
So I used to be a director at one of the major wildlife groups called Wild Aid, which tried to stop poaching. And 10 years ago when I was there, we were trying to literally get farmers to not go out and poach tigers and stuff like that. Now your money is better spent in a laboratory genetically creating baby tigers like we would with Jurassic Park and replenishing populations like that. In the next 5 and 10 years, you're going to see the entire field of poaching and wildlife organizations change how they go about replenishing species, because that's the cheapest and most efficient way to do it. And you don't got to go to a farmer and say, hey, don't kill a tiger, even though he's probably just killing a tiger to sell to some Chinese consumer to feed his family. So it's much easier to replenish populations from a test tube.
So you think we're going to have a lot more pandas?
Oh, many more pandas, many more pandas.
So the Transhumanist Party, correct?
Transhumanist Party, yes.
Where can people find you?
You can find my presidential campaign at zoltanistvan.com, or you can just go to transhumanistparty.org, or you can just Google my name. I'm a former National Geographic journalist, so I have a whole bunch of stuff out there that viewers can discover.
You know, transhumanist, immediately I'm thinking transgender, right? Is that what you get a lot of that?
We get a lot of that, but the word is catching on. Transhumanism, the word has been a movement, a concept for about 30 years now.
Really?
It's getting bigger. Major media is using it more and more. And the good news is that, transgender is not such a loaded concept anymore. Now it's, transhumanists are very pro the LGBT movement. So transhumanism is probably the best and the most useful word that we have for defining the future. Some people like post-human, some people like singularity, some people like cyborgs, but those are all still science fiction. Transhumanism is the one that's sort of the word that's won.
Okay. Nice to meet you.
Pleasure to
Thanks
meet
for
you.
talking with us.
Thank you.
Good luck.